Let's do this!
Hello, I'm Dave Abrams.
And I'm Kristin Lagana. Welcome to Arundel County Week in Review. In this episode, we'll go way back in history and we'll also tell you about efforts to prevent rabies. But first, making headlines this week. Every day, the county's Department of Public Works is turning run-down, damaged waterways into beautiful filters to clean up our bay. This week, County Executive Steve Shue announced that his budgets will include $253 million over 6 years for these projects. We were out in Gambrels to see one of these projects. Take a look at the before picture. Messy, dirty, doing nothing to help the bay. Here's what Shue had to say about the new project near Four Seasons Elementary School.
We are today at the upper end of Towser's Branch, which is part of the Little Patuxent watershed. The scene behind me, as we'll all see in just a minute when we walk down there, is a disaster. The outfall has failed utterly. Now that will soon change, thanks to Nazrin's good work and Eric's to restore this important piece of infrastructure by installing a series of pools that will better manage and control water as it exits the outfall and removes nutrients and other pollutants from the water before the storm water runs off into the Little Patuxent and ultimately into the bay itself. And I tell you, I look forward to coming back here in a couple years when this project's done. This is a big project, $1.9 million, so this is not going to happen at the snap of a finger. But when it's done, it's going to be absolutely sensational.
The Towser's Branch outfall restoration is underway, and we can't wait to see it when it's finished. It's like makeovers around the county. It's like they take a stream and put it in a chair at the beauty shop and then turn the chair around, and it's a completely new stream.
It's a total reveal.
It's a total reveal.
And it's like Hobbits. It's like the Shire with the Hobbits. It's all green and lush.
You lost me.
You don't know the Hobbits?
Nope.
But you watch all the nerdy movies. You don't watch the Lord of the Rings movies?
Nope.
Oh, well, you need to.
Okay, I'm on it.
That's a good way to spend, 18 hours?
18 hours. Like the week I watched Star Wars all in 1 week.
You did.
And now I'm a genius.
You learned so much in that period. You got your pop culture
Star
meter
Wars
up
sponge.
I mean, you make Star Trek references now and
Yeah.
stuff.
I'm sorry, I failed you on the Lord of the Rings.
You need to check it. So when you watch Lord of the Rings, you're going to say, that looks like a completed stormwater restoration project.
Well, thanks, Watershed.
County.
We appreciate you.
They're great. They're great.
Yeah.
I mean, and these things are really impressive. So I think the more projects we do like this, the more people see it, they understand how important it is and what a difference it makes. So
yeah,
it's easy to be skeptical. We're giving the government money. Oh, sure, they're going to clean up the bay, but you can see this. You can see it. Nobody would have any question that this is doing what it's supposed to do by seeing the before and after. So, well, if you're a regular follower of Arundel TV, you know about all the great programs in the county that support folks with developmental disabilities. There's Bella McCrae, a nonprofit that operates 55 supportive living environments around the county and provides job training and placement, and also the Providence Center, which puts people to work and teaches valuable skills. County officials toured the Providence Center in Arnold with acting CEO Joan Miller and Sharon, one of the Providence Center's growers. The center provides vocational training in a working nursery. 22 growers produce seasonal plants and perennials for sale, as well as natives plants. The center helps 500 men and women become more independent and play a functioning role in society. For more information, you can find them on Facebook or call 410-766-2212.
What a great program.
It is a great program, and people learn about horticulture, which you're a pretty good horticulturalist.
I'm excellent.
Can we get an update on your orchid? How's your orchid doing?
I don't want to give you an update on my orchid right now. Okay, I made a mistake.
What happened to the orchid?
All right, my watering day on my orchid is on Fridays, and I went to Charleston and forgot to ask somebody at work to water it for me.
No.
So there's a stem of orchid flowers that are a little worse for wear right now. The other ones are doing fine, everyone. Don't panic.
Wait.
Don't panic.
All right, I'm not going to gloat, but
don't gloat
I'm not going to
either.
gloat. So I predicted that this orchid would never live.
No, you said like 3 weeks. It's gone way past that.
I'm going to be fair. So you've gone way past that.
No, this is my
fault. So that's May, June, July, 3 months.
Listen, I'm gonna
3 months?
Half of it is flourishing.
Can you save
I can save the orchid.
orchid?
I'll show you a picture when she's all good and ready.
All right, we want proof.
I promise.
We want proof that the orchid
sorry
lives.
I let you
proof
down,
of life for the
orchid.
orchid.
Yeah, it was just because I forgot
Bring
to tell her to
Kristin
take
back
care
or off of vacation or the orchid gets it.
I know. That's what happened.
That's what happens when you go on Victoria's Secret
I'm sure
weekend.
my coworkers were like, she's in Charleston. We're going to kill her orchid.
Good job killing the orchid, Kristin. I had such
My
high
fault.
hopes for you.
It's still-
Maybe you should go to the Providence Center and learn a little bit more.
I'm going to salvage it. We're okay.
Okay.
All right,
Maybe you could do a floating garden. They do floating gardens there.
Dave, I'm about to do a story on graveyards, and I'm going to make that direct reference to you in a minute. if
Okay,
you don't-
it's a happy story about graveyards, so don't worry about it.
Well, there was a party in a graveyard last week. And
See,
it was
a party. There's a party.
It makes me think of the skeletons at Halloween.
Hey, there's a party in the graveyard. Yeah, let's do the wobble.
Love it. And it was a great chance to learn more about local history. Officials celebrated the newly renovated Wiley Bates gravesite at the Brewer Hill Cemetery in Annapolis. The event was packed with history, music, and lots of smiles. Check out this song by Valerie Miller singing a spiritual a cappella.
Great is thy faithfulness, great is thy faithfulness, morning by morning, new mercies I see. All I have needed, thy hands have provided. Great is thy faithfulness, Lord, unto me. Great is thy faithfulness. Great is thy faithfulness. Morning by morning, new mercies I see. All I have needed, thy hand hath provided. Great is thy faithfulness. Great is thy faithfulness. Great is thy faithfulness. Lord, unto me.
Wiley H. Bates was born into slavery and became one of the wealthiest men in Annapolis. He also became the first black city alderman in 1897, but his greatest legacy was to education, as a benefactor to build Wiley Bates High School in 1933. He was also committed to early childhood education and was really before his time. Local historian Janice Hayes Williams said his programs were more rigorous than public schools.
Now you know him for the school, but the real legacy that Mr. Bates had, the moment that he left the Annapolis City Council in 1899, he built an addition to his home at South Street. That addition was the first kindergarten for black children in Anne Arundel County. You see, he understood that there would not be an achievement gap if the children learned in kindergarten. None of the children who went to his kindergarten school went to the first grade because the rigor and the requirements and the education propelled them to the second grade. I'm like, why is my mother graduating from high school at 15? Because she went to the Wiley H. Bates kindergarten. That's the legacy he wants you to understand. Not that you went to his school, but that you understand that our children need to learn in kindergarten. They need to learn at home. It is not the responsibility of Anne Arundel County Public Schools.
Now, if you want to help the effort to restore Brewer Hill Cemetery, you can send a donation to Brewer Hill Cemetery Association, P.O. Box 2086, Annapolis, Maryland 21404. Party in the Grave.
Party in the Graveyard, and I stole that from Janice. Janice is very well known in the area as a local historian who knows about everything. And she kicked this whole thing off with, we're having a party in a cemetery, and she said you should have a party in a cemetery because
You're celebrating life.
yeah, and
That's right.
and this is one of those events where sometimes when I'm going to these things, I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know if it's going to be just we take a picture and cut a ribbon or what. This turned out to be so cool, and it was so interesting. And we ran a clip of one of the musical renditions, which was beautifully done by Val Miller. But there was some other songs, and there was a lot of history there. Janice, traced the genealogy of the Bates family. There were descendants of Wiley Bates there.
Wow.
So this cemetery really could use some support from the community. It deserves to be kept up and made a place where people can go visit and they're proud of. So hopefully people will chip in and help out with that.
Yes, please.
Yeah, do it. We're going to take a quick break, and when we return, we'll talk to Jane Cox about an exciting archaeological dig coming up that you can join. Take a look at our community calendar for events happening around town, and we'll be right back.
I grew up in the housing projects of Cleveland. I didn't even know that life could be any better than it was. Education for me has been a way to get away from the agony of what was normal life. I want to be able to impact the community, not just look back on where I came from, but to reach back to where I came from and pull some people up with me. My name is David, and I am your dividend.
Welcome back. Joining us in the studio this week, we have Jane Cox with the county's Cultural Resources Division. Jane, welcome to the program. How are you doing today?
Thank you for having me. I'm doing great.
Very good. And you are the chief of the Cultural Resources Division. Talk to us a bit about not only the division, but your role as chief.
Well, I started with the county in 1997, so I'm coming up on 20 years, and about a year and a half ago, I was promoted to Chief of Cultural Resources. Not a lot of people know what cultural resources means, and it's essentially the historic preservation department for the county, and we're in charge of trying to protect all the historic resources that we have, which is a very rich history that goes back 10,000 years. So we have, in our department, through planning and zoning is where we reside. In planning and zoning, we review development and make sure that if there's an important historic site, an archaeological resource, or a cemetery, we try to protect that in the context of development and try to save the county's history.
Very good. What got you interested in archaeology?
I started, when I went to college, I didn't have a clue like so many people, and I literally walked into an archaeology class one day. I always loved history, and I knew that I really didn't want to have to work in an office my whole life, so I found out that you could actually do history, be outside, play in the dirt. It's a fantastic job.
And it's work, yeah.
And then I found out that you can actually get paid to do archaeology, so.
Winning from all angles, and I think when you talk about you didn't know something, I think a lot of people don't know that we have an archaeology leg within the county. Can you explain about that?
Sure. So within the county, we actually have one of the very first archaeology programs that was ever in local government across the nation. So we're very much a trendsetter. It started about 25 years ago. My predecessor, Al Lukenbach, started an archaeology program where we started protecting archaeological sites locally. In the county, we have over 1,600 recorded archaeological sites dating back to 10,000 years ago. Up through the 20th century. So there are resources hidden everywhere, and our job is to try to protect those. Along with, within the department, we also protect historic structures and cemeteries.
That's a lot of sites. Well, tell us, I see you brought some items with you.
Did,
what is
yes.
the most prized possession that we have in Anne Arundel County?
Well, one of the things with archaeology is that everybody is really interested in this stuff. But for archaeologists, what we're doing is studying past culture. We're trying to understand history through a way that isn't written down in history books. People don't write down the trash they leave behind. So for us as archaeologists, it's not necessarily what we find, it's what we find out, and we can learn from the history of things. So, but I will admit that as an archaeologist, we do find some cool stuff. So I did bring a few things with me today,
Let's
if you
see
wanted
what
to have
you
a look
got.
at it. Everybody loves a good projectile point, right?
Oh, wow.
So this is a projectile point made out of chert.
Notice she
Do you
said
wanna hold it?
projectile.
I do want to hold
And
it.
not
You did not
arrowhead.
call it an arrowhead.
I did not.
Why is that?
We call them projectile points because they're not always arrowheads like that. They come in different shapes and different sizes because these are really just the stone.
Ow.
Are you going to go kill a mammoth? So what's amazing about this projectile point, though, is it's not from around here. It's from the Ohio River Valley.
And it made its way down here?
Someone brought it here.
Oh, okay.
And it probably dates to about 300 BC.
It's about how old you are.
Interesting.
So that's a
300 BC.
Yes, because
Before Kristin.
I'm a K.
I know you're a K.
another really amazing thing that we found. This is about the same time period from the same site, from the same area.
And that's been in the water.
Ooh.
No, it hasn't.
No.
This is a polished gorget. This is what a Native American would have worn around their neck as a protective piece.
It looks gorgeous.
Isn't it gorget?
It's
It's
gorgeous.
gorgeous. Thank you. I was trying to say it.
It's so smooth.
It is.
We found that in a deposit from about 300 BC. And it would have had, they would probably had leather that held it on their neck. It was it's almost considered ceremonial. It's a protective item that would have protected their souls.
So we have a lot of items
this.
that are Indian remains.
We do.
Is it the Nanacoke Indians?
The Piscataway were in this area
Piscataway.
towards the time when the Europeans showed up. But before that, sometimes it goes so far back, 10,000 years ago. We have artifacts from Native Americans from 10,000 years ago. And we have no idea what they called themselves. There's no way to know.
All right, show us. Let's do
Okay.
one more.
Okay, how about...
Oh, that's probably the hardest thing to ask her.
No, this is...
Like I said, it's like picking
Oh, yes,
your favorite
I was hoping
child.
you'd do this one.
It's like
Yeah, okay.
picking your favorite child.
So these are two tiny pots that we found in a kitchen deposit where they were cooking food. So we found this one, and we thought, this is pretty amazing. It's about the tiniest little pot I've ever seen.
Yeah, and then
about
you
an
find-
hour later, we found that one.
They're like, Kristin, we can eat dinner with this.
Yeah.
So this probably
key
held
in
like
there.
a dye for paint or like something like that.
We have no idea. That's
Or
some
really, really
speculation.
small people used it.
Maybe, or a child's toy is another thing that we thought that
Okay.
possibly this was, a Native American child learning how to make pottery, and they were mimicking what their parents would do at their size.
That was like my Playmates little kitchen that I played with when Playmates kitchen. You know what I'm talking
wasn't
about.
sure where you were
But the
going
little,
with that.
I said PlayStation first. When you make the plastic food and then you go take it to your parents and they pretend to
That's
eat it.
probably what it was.
Yeah.
It was a
Made the little
prehistoric version
plates.
of that.
See, you're
Well,
doing archaeology right here.
See?
That's exactly what we do. We try to make stories and understand how people may have lived based on the things that we find.
I love
And
that.
Kristin, it's not what you find, it's what
what
you
you
find
find
out.
Now, something really exciting. We heard that you have a dig coming up that is open to the public.
Indeed. A lot of the work that we do here in the county is in partnership with nonprofits, and to get the labor, because archaeology is labor intensive, to get the labor, we only have a 3-person department, so it's not like we're able to go out and do all of this digging. So we work really closely with the public, and starting next week, Wednesday through Saturday, we're going to be hosting a public excavation to dig a Native American village site that is down near Jug Bay in Lothian. So that's being done in partnership with the Lost Towns Project, which is a local nonprofit that does archaeological research and education. We have a
And
limit
we're going
of...
to put the dates up on the screen so
Okay.
everybody can see
Great.
when it is.
Yep, so next Wednesday through Saturday, it's you have to register online at losttownsproject.org, and will be no experience necessary. You can come along and we'll teach you on the job. So normally we do, with our volunteer program, we do a bit of orientation and prep beforehand. But this is such a neat site that we're going to open it up, see if we can get some more people interested to come dig it and help us rediscover this past with their help.
Is there
Any,
anything,
I'm sorry, you
is
go
there
ahead.
anything you're expecting to find, kind of hoping to find in this dig?
We are. In the spring, in May and June, we worked with the Archaeological Society of Maryland and the State Maryland Historical Trust, and we did an excavation at this site. We found half of a building that was a trench building that was about 30 feet around. We think it was a fairly large, like a wigwam or a house that they would have lived in. We found a lot of very fancy ceremonial type things in those deposits, but we ran out of time and we only uncovered half of the house site. So what we're going to be doing, very, very targeted, is going back next week to dig the other half, and we were going to see how big it was. This house probably dates to about 900 AD. And we'll be back there, and that's what we're hoping to uncover the rest of it, and whatever other treasures and mysteries we might uncover.
And what are the volunteers going to do? They do some sifting, they do some digging, like what are they going to be doing if they
will be getting a great workout in a beautiful location on Jug Bay. It's a gorgeous spot. So they'll be helping us sift, they'll be digging with shovels, they'll be digging with trowels, just like you see on National Geographic, scraping away at the dirt. They'll be doing mapping, all of the things that go with archaeology. It's not just about digging and recovering the artifacts, it's also about writing everything down that you find, because once you dig it, you've destroyed it. You only get one crack at it. So they'll be helping us by taking photographs, doing maps, washing the artifacts and processing things in our field lab while we're there.
So interesting. I hope you find some more gorgets.
I do too.
I love
that.
gorgets.
Those are awesome. Yes.
Any age requirements for your volunteers, or any other kind of requirements
for this event? 16 and over.
16 and over.
Anybody under 16 has to have a parent with them, but they're more than welcome to join us. And you can do the registration at losttownsproject.org.
And you have to register.
Great.
You do have to register,
Yes.
because it's a protected site, and you have to know where you're going, so you have to be in touch with us before you can.
So if
What an exciting
Kristin drops
opportunity.
a 1,000-year-old pot on the ground, you know where to find her.
Why would I
Right.
assume that I would do that? Now, if folks want to find out more about the Cultural Resources Division, is this the same website that they can visit?
The Anne Arundel County Cultural Resources Division on annearundelcounty.org. You can look it up there. And we have some information about other volunteer opportunities, because while this is a special excavation we're going to dig at this site, we take volunteers year-round to help us in our lab. We have over 3 million artifacts that we take
Really?
care of in Anne Arundel County that are county property. So we have 2 lab facilities, and we always need help processing, managing those resources, and digging in the field. We have a couple of other excavations going on right now that people are welcome to come join us for. You have to go through an orientation process before you join us on those, though.
Wow, well, exciting work, exciting opportunities
Very
with the
cool.
Cultural Resources Division. Jane, thank you so much for joining us in the studio this week. Come back
having me.
anytime with more treasures.
The next greatest discovery.
Yes,
I'll be
the
here.
next greatest discovery. Who knows what you're going to find on this next dig? We'll be right back with more Week in Review right after this. Don't go anywhere.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes? B, console her?
Don't worry, sweetie. This is gonna happen a lot.
Or C, find her a new boyfriend?
Nice single boys. That was weird.
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Welcome back. There are some little pellets falling from the sky that are preventing rabies in the county. Pat Daly met with the health department to find out more about this program. Pat?
Thanks, guys. I'm here with Ian Tracy of Environmental Health to tell us about the ORV program. Ian, can you tell us a little bit about the program, the raccoon baiting
Sure.
program?
Yeah, we've been doing the project since 1998, and it was a USDA-funded project. In the past couple years, it's been a fully county-funded project. We distribute over 80,000 baits throughout the entire county, and the goal of the project is to reduce the prevalence of raccoon rabies in wildlife in the county.
Okay. What exactly is the ORV stand for?
It stands for the Oral Rabies Vaccination Project. So we have some baits here, which there's 2 forms of the bait, and we distribute these throughout the entire county.
Throughout the entire county, so from north to south?
Yep, the entire county gets baited at a rate of about, in most areas, 75 baits per square kilometer.
Okay. How safe's the vaccine?
The vaccine is pretty safe. We still ask that people try to, keep their pets away from it, and to not touch it if they see it in their yard, to just leave it there for the wildlife to eat. But it's usually not, it doesn't make any animals sick. If a dog were to eat a lot of the bait, they could get diarrhea because it's a very fat-rich food. But for the most part, it's not harmful to pets or people.
Great. What brought the project to fruition? Like, how old is the program?
The project came out in 1998 is when we started it, and it was part of a USDA grant. The USDA does a national project along the Appalachian Ridge where they try to prevent the westward spread of rabies into the rest of the country. We're in an endemic zone here. So that was how the project started, is we were like a test area, and then we've continued it ever since because it has reduced the prevalence of rabies in the county.
Okay, I know that a lot of residents ask our office about rabid cases of foxes and raccoons. What can you tell those residents and any other viewers that are interested in learning what they can do?
The best thing you can do is, well, number one, if a person or pet does come in contact with a suspected rabid animal, they should, contact animal control to try to capture that animal so it can be tested to see if it has rabies. If they haven't been able to capture the animal and they don't know whether, if the animal just, came up to them and bit them and then ran away and they don't know where it went, or, they can't test it, they should definitely talk to their doctor right away. If it's an animal that they see that's staggering around, it hasn't had contact with anyone, but they suspect there's a problem with it, they can call the nuisance wildlife hotline that's operated in conjunction with DNR, and you can pop up a phone number for them. But that's really the best advice we have for them. Animal control will come out 24/7 to pick up any animals that does have contact with a person or is found in a house.
Okay, great. What can HOAs do to contact environmental health about the program?
In what way?
Just if they have any questions,
okay.
What can they do?
They can definitely contact myself or anyone in environmental health to ask us any questions they may have about the baiting project, when it occurs, where it's going to be occurring. But it's pretty much beginning of September 1st, and it's going to go through the end of the month in October.
Are there any mailings or anything, any information on the county website?
Yeah, we have a website that's specifically about the project and when it's going to be starting, when it's going to be ending, as well as details of the bait, what you should do if you find the bait or have contact with the bait, and we have also a webpage about rabies virus, and what you should do if you have contact with a wild animal, that has all of the appropriate phone numbers to call.
All right, great. Well, thanks, Ian. Thanks, keeping our residents safe. That's what Anne Arundel County is all about. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Pat. Now, Dave, don't let Yoshi eat those things, and
No.
you should not eat them either.
Oh,
okay?
I thought
it's
they
not
were
candy.
Yeah, I thought they were candy. They're not.
The sky is falling.
That's not good to eat those.
Chicken Little.
But I won't have rabies if I eat them, right?
It's crazy. Dropping pellets from the sky, killing rabies. Crazy.
Well, let me just say.
That's a ninja move.
Yes.
It's a ninja.
Speaking of ninja moves,
yes.
I must commend you on your Phelps stare. That was very well executed. Good job.
I have a lot of practice being angry because you always ask me to do stuff on the show.
Yeah, that's kind of how the scene is every time we tape the show.
Taylor Swift, Bad Blood, the Pokemon thing, everything with Santa.
Yeah, we haven't done a skit in a while. That was fun.
We do skits all the time.
No, we haven't done one in a while since
It was
Chris.
very easy to get into character.
Yeah. So let's talk about the Olympics a little bit because we previewed it last week.
Amazing.
By the way, shout out to Bob Mosier from the school system because he told me to step up my Olympics game. Apparently he wasn't a big fan of our segment last week.
Oh, because we didn't get into it enough.
But that means he watched the show all the way to the end.
Bob,
so
thanks.
Shout out to Bob Mosier. You're a good man, Bob Mosier.
You get the gold medal for watching.
And I'm just going to
Week in
start
Review.
now and say, give the kids off for the snow, okay? They want the day off. They deserve it for the snow. It's like 6 months away. But anyway, so let's talk about Tuesday night because Tuesday night was just the biggest domination. I mean, were there any other countries there? Because I missed it. I mean, it was like one just butt kicking after
more
another.
Specifically, we're so excited about the fact, I think somebody was bringing up that there are an equal amount of gold medals in Maryland specifically.
That's right.
As to other countries except for the U.S. and China.
Katie Ledecky and Michael Phelps.
That's crazy.
And we touched on this last week, but what a resurrection for Michael Phelps.
Yeah.
I mean, he's had a tough couple years, and he is on top
31,
again.
all these 20-somethings mugging him, ghost shadow boxing him. Like, come on.
I mean, he's huge now.
Literally.
Now, hopefully, he will not do Saturday Night Live because we discussed that.
Yeah, that should not be done.
Don't go back and do Saturday Night Live.
That should be done.
You're right there. Just don't. You're perfect. Don't do Saturday Night Live, and you'll be good, right?
Yeah. And in case you missed it or you didn't hear about it, which I don't know how you would, but they did the national anthem, of course, when he won, and they're standing there receiving their medals. And you see the biggest grin and just a sneak of laughter go across Phelps' face, and everyone was like, what was that?
Right.
He had some friends in the crowd.
Right.
But of course, the big moment came up, and you heard the yeah, and it just made him laugh. I thought that was a nice sentiment.
And you know what? We have a connection here. We have an even better local connection. You talked about Maryland being second if it was a country in medal count. So Michael Phelps, Baltimore.
Baltimore.
Right? Katie Ledecky, Bethesda.
Bethesda.
I'm not from Bethesda, but same county.
Same county.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And good for them. And those girls on the gymnastics team, my goodness, impressive.
So good.
And dominating.
Dominating, but
killing
just flawless and executing a performance that just made you want to get out of your seat. So.
And the way they handle themselves is so impressive to me too. I mean,
they're so young, and
they are, and they've had some adversity. I mean, Gabby, didn't make the finals in one of the events, and she was just so poised about it and so mature, and they seem to really like each other.
Yeah.
I mean, you can tell that they really like each other.
I watched.
Oh, you don't have to.
Well, I know you
ever met Tanya Harding?
Okay, that's different.
Nancy Kerrigan?
Okay,
not really buddies.
Let's okay.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, with that kind of pressure and being so young and doing something like traveling to Rio right now and being in the Olympic spotlight, you do need that camaraderie, that sisterhood or brotherhood with your co-teammates.
And I should, you know what? I think this is a good opportunity for me to apologize to Rio.
Why?
Because, I talked about the open sewer.
Hope Solo. What's wrong with you?
You know what? I took the bait of the mass media covering a foreign country from an American perspective.
That was your first mistake.
And it turned out to be, very well done, and knock on plastic. Nobody's gotten ill or anything happened.
Well, what was up with the cycling? Because it seemed to be the same spot on the run, on the course where two people both slipped.
Oh, I missed that.
Oh, yeah.
There's so much, I saw archery. I caught archery. I mean, there's so much.
Right now
stuff.
is the time for sports to shine that you don't think about for the rest of the
That's right.
the 3.5 years where we don't have the Olympics.
Synchronized swimming.
Synchronized swimming.
Tell us about that. How do you feel about synchronized swimming?
It's a beautiful thing.
Did you ever do that when you were?
I did not. Do
at the Lagana house, y'all don't do the
You're wrong.
You should. Can we do a skit with that? Can we have the Laganas do synchronized swimming? That would be hilarious.
Actually, you're right. Now that I think about it,
that would be so hilarious.
My sister and I put together a Paula Abdul routine a la 1989.
Okay, but can you not use copyrighted music because YouTube will take it down?
Well, what if you
sing it? Can you do an original? You want me to sing it?
If you sing it, they won't be able to tell that it's a Paula Abdul song because it's just awful.
Gonna be you and me together.
Yeah, that'll work. Oh. But Olympics. Back to the Olympics.
Yeah. So Olympics, great job by the Americans. USA. And the one other thing I want to say is the visuals of Katie Ledecky singing the national anthem every time she's up on the podium is just, it gets me every time.
Yeah.
That girl appreciates what, you know what I'm saying?
Right. And Bob, if you want to come out and be a commentator for the
Bob,
Olympics, Bob,
come on over, Bob. You want to host the show?
We got a spot for you right here on the desk.
I'd like to go on vacation, Bob. How about you just host a show? That'd be great.
Oh, there you go.
Bob has done Adele before, so just saying.
Bob, can you come up with something for the Olympics?
#please Bob.
#please Bob.
That wraps up this week's edition of Week in Review. You can watch this episode and archived episodes online anytime on Facebook, YouTube, or Google Plus by searching Arundel TV. Please tune in again next week for more highlights and news from around the county, and we'll see you next time.
USA! USA! USA!
Woo!